County 911, where's your emergency?
We have an emergency out here on Cary Road. My girlfriend's sister, it looks like she's been shot.
Is she, do you know if she's breathing at all?
She's not breathing, it don't look like.
On a November evening in rural Ohio, a pickup truck sits motionless beside a mailbox. The engine is running. The lights are on. Inside is a woman who should have been home hours ago.
Here, let me, excuse me here. Excuse me here. She's still breathing? She's still breathing? Here, let me jump in here.
Family members rush to the scene expecting a breakdown, maybe a medical emergency. Instead, they find something far more disturbing.
It's interesting they're parading the last results, man. It's kind of one of those, I don't know, I'd say something.
And why didn't anybody call anyway?
You guys,
she would have been home.
I think she was shot through the driver's side window.
Within hours, detectives begin looking at someone who insists he knows almost nothing about what happened.
So Deputy James,
Your name?
Bill. Okay, just stay right here for me.
I can't get my kid. Heads or tails of what's going on. You understand these rights as I've read them to you?
Yeah, but okay, maybe I should get it in a little air.
If you want to give a statement, that's fine.
I know, absolutely.
Yet the deeper they dig, the more they uncover a relationship filled with questions no one can easily answer.
Yeah, I believe she's deceased. I don't believe it was self-inflicted. She was putting it in reverse to back in, and then so somebody...
A good sized caliber to go through the window, through her head.
Through the other window.
Yeah.
A hidden recording, a dead teacher, and a mystery that may have started long before the gunshots. Welcome to Psyche Probe. November 29, 2023. Columbiana County, Ohio, and the night begins not with silence, but with a frantic 911 call.
Columbiana County 911, where's your emergency?
We have an emergency out here on Cary Road. My girlfriend's sister, it looks like she's been shot. The truck's laying at the road and the window's busted out of it.
Is she, do you know if she's breathing at all?
She's not breathing, it don't look like it.
All right, we have deputies on the way. We have help on the way, okay, sir?
Okay, please, thank you.
Minutes after the call, officers are racing down Perry Road, lights cutting through the rural dark, and what they find waiting is a pickup truck parked near a mailbox, with its engine still running and its headlights still on, like time stopped inside it.
This 911 call comes in. Columbiana County Sheriff's officers arrive at the home of the victim, 50-year-old high school math teacher Michelle Long. Truck, which is parked in front of her mailbox.
An officer leans in and spots movement, a fragile sign of life that briefly shifts urgency back toward rescue. But even that moment doesn't last long because the injuries inside the vehicle already tell a story of deliberate violence.
She's still breathing? She's still breathing? Here, let me jump in here. Jump in here. Here, hold on a second. If you can't, step over here for a second.
The band's farewell show on Thanksgiving 1976 in San Francisco. Paul McCartney, Elton John, that film. And it's interesting they're parading the last results, man. It's kind of one of those, I don't know, I'd say something.
And why didn't anybody call anyway?
You guys,
she would have been home.
No, this is her mom. I'm her sister's boyfriend.
Okay.
She should have been home.
Which exactly house is hers?
Right there.
Okay. All right. We got the ambulance and squad and everybody coming in. You guys want to go wherever? I'll get with you guys in here.
Well, why didn't anybody call?
Yeah.
She should have been here about 4 o'clock. The car just sits here and they don't even...
Paramedics arrive within minutes, and the scene tightens into controlled chaos as they work around the driver's side door. But the reality becomes unavoidable. Michelle Long is not surviving what happened here.
Yeah, if you want to go in the house. Yeah, I believe she's deceased. I don't believe it was self-inflicted.
Doesn't look like it.
So it looks like she was shot through the driver's side window. So she pulls up. So just from what I.
She already got her mail. The mail's laying next to
so
her
she
leg.
was putting it in reverse, the back end, and then so somebody.
A good sized caliber to go through the window, through her head.
Through the other window.
Yeah.
The truck sits in reverse, still idling by the mailbox like she just pulled in, and officers begin pushing the family back from the vehicle as emotion takes over the scene, while investigators quietly shift the focus from rescue to evidence.
It looked like a struggle. All right, we need to find the casing. You guys back up.
Other investigators gather information from Michelle's sister, Sarah Lewis, and her boyfriend who made the call to 911.
So you were the first here with, who was the man with you?
Robert Morris.
Sarah tells officers that around 9 p.m., her mother Karen called her in a panic.
Family members stand at the edge of the scene repeating the same detail. Michelle never missed her son's pickup, and tonight was the first time she simply never showed up.
That's not like my sister not to pick her son up. That's very out of character for her. So I jumped in my car in my slippers and I got here. We pulled up and I saw her truck sitting just as it is.
Sarah explains how she ran to the vehicle, how she screamed through the broken window, and how the realization of gunshots came only after seeing the pattern of damage that did not resemble anything accidental.
And the lights were on.
It was in reverse. It was in reverse idling. We put the cement block behind the wheel because we didn't want it to move, but it was setting still, setting there in reverse. The backup lights were on.
What did you first thing you noticed?
The window was busted out.
Was there anyone out here at that
No.
time? Did you hear anything unusual?
No.
Go
I
ahead.
ran up to the door and I was pounding on it, screaming at her. I couldn't see in there or anything because it was so dark. I was pounding. I went to the other side. I couldn't see her. I was pounding, and then I saw the other hole because I thought maybe there was a rock, and then I saw the other hole, so I know it was a gunshot, so I shot her, and then I was hitting, and so then I looked through where the broken was, and I saw her.
As investigators start mapping relationships, one name keeps coming up again and again in Michelle's life: her ex-husband, Bill Long, in the middle of a bitter divorce.
Who else lives here?
Her son. Her ex-husband, they're going through a divorce right now. His father, he's on his way here.
Who's the ex-husband?
Bill Long.
As they're talking, Bill Long arrives on scene.
How we doing there, sir? Deputy Jameson. How we doing, sir? Deputy Jameson. Your name?
Bill.
Okay, just stay right here for me.
I
Stay
can't get
right.
my kid.
Okay, well, I have a few questions for you.
Okay.
We're under medical, as you can see that right here. If you have some ID, I would like that. Get it through dispatch, and you can head over here in just a minute. We're asking questions. This is a lot.
Bill's first responses are minimal, almost mechanical, and when asked basic questions about Michelle, he claims limited contact and insists he knows nothing about what happened.
Again, these questions are just all based. We just got here a little while ago. We're trying to make heads or tails of what's going on. You understand these rights as I've read them to you?
Yeah, but okay. Maybe I should get in a little air.
I was just going to ask you, like, the basic question, but the last time you saw her, talked to her, and, you know...
I mean, I picked him up at school, and she walked out. I seen her, but I didn't say a word to her.
It turns out Michelle taught at the same high school her son attends.
So that was earlier today?
2:30. I picked him up at school at 2:30.
Okay. Who called you about coming here? Like, who notified you?
Sarah.
Investigators note something important early. Bill is not displaying the kind of visible emotional reaction typically expected from a spouse who just learned of a violent death.
Well, if you If you want to give a statement, that's fine.
I know, absolutely.
Detectives interpret it as resistance rather than cooperation as Bill moves to leave and get his vehicle. But before he can, his truck is seized after a firearm is discovered inside near the scene. And that contrast only deepens the early impression of emotional detachment rather than shock.
In addition to his lack of cooperation, the officer notices Bill doesn't seem upset about Michelle's death.
I don't have to stay here, do I?
Just for a little while longer.
Yeah, if you don't mind staying around for a little longer.
Yeah. You can wait in the car then.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, he said that.
You don't know anything about, did she have a disturbance with other people? Did you guys have anything like that whatsoever?
No, we don't get along.
You and her don't?
No.
Okay. Because you're getting divorced, correct?
Yeah.
He has lawyered up, correct?
He did.
He has lawyered up.
So they don't get along, so he's the number one suspect now,
Correct.
obviously.
Right.
Based on everything that's going on, we are towing the vehicle. Yes, we're towing the vehicle, and we're not taking your firearm right now. We're going to secure it.
Meanwhile, neighbors begin giving their own accounts of the gunshots they heard that evening, helping officers lock in the timing as the investigation shifts from reaction to reconstruction of the final moments.
As Michelle's body is removed from the scene and transported to the medical examiner's office,
The only thing I heard was gunshots, and it was about 5:45, 6 o'clock.
Yeah, so if you want to write a statement.
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
The gentleman here lives in this house.
Okay.
And what'd you say, 5:45?
Like 22 and 5:45, I heard two booms. I thought, who would be shooting shotguns at this time? Then I came out and I looked, the lights were blinking and everything, and I thought, what's been the engine blowing?
So you're saying at 5:45 p.m.?
Yeah.
Okay.
Quarter to 6, yeah, it'll be 5:45.
Okay.
5:45. 5:40, 5:45, right in that area. So I heard two booms. I looked at my watch, and that's what it said. And I got up, went to the window, and I said, well, neighbor's truck blew the engine.
As detectives piece together the final timeline, they continue interviewing Michelle's family, and at the sheriff's office, her sister Sarah makes a startling claim. She already knows who killed Michelle, Bill Long.
when officers sit down with Michelle's sister Sarah to get more insight into Michelle's life, she says the moment she discovered her sister's dead body, she knew exactly who was responsible.
And I was screaming, he murdered her.
Who's he?
Bill Long.
What made you think it was Bill?
He's threatened to kill her. In the past, he was intoxicated at the time, and I do have to say he said that he did apologize to my sister for saying that, but it was the last straw that she knew that he was changing and not for the best.
As Sarah continues talking, investigators learn of a divorce marked by years of resentment, escalating hostility, and financial battles that had pushed the relationship to a breaking point.
How so?
Very angry, very volatile. I mean, the relationship, you could see just how he would treat her and make her cry.
How long were they married for?
20 years.
And they just got recently divorced?
Yes.
When was
August 1st it was finalized.
of this year?
Of this year.
Sarah says from the moment Michelle filed for divorce in 2022, Bill's animosity towards her amplified. Things got even worse when a judge ordered Bill to pay Michelle $100,000 as part of their divorce settlement.
And he made his ruling, and Bill was supposed to pay her, get everything signed over and pay her the $100,000 within like a week. The very last day he could have contested the findings,
he contested, which then held everything, right, to, okay, you're still then paying what you're paying, but he quit paying the house payment, he quit paying everything. He was still supposed to be paying all these other things because he ended the he contested a divorce, so none of that went and was all really all over the place. Bill is not himself. He really appears to have gone off the deep end for a long time now. Not much what has changed, it's more what's intensified.
Okay.
Bill has always been a bit hot-headed. If you cross me, I'll cross you. And his behaviors with my sister, like putting her down for the past 2 years, it's just sitting there crying because just hearing how he would say things.
What would he say to her?
You're stupid, you can't even take care of anything, like you don't know what you're doing, you don't know how to do anything. And then he would start, when it escalated, started bringing into it. Your mom's so stupid, isn't she? She's just dumb.
Michelle's mother describes Bill as toxic and volatile, but she also points to 2016 as a devastating turning point when the couple lost their oldest son, Jacob, a tragedy that never seemed to heal and only deepened the anger and fractures already present in the marriage.
What kind of relationship did Michelle and Bill have?
The nicest word is tough.
She says things turned really dark in 2016 when Bill and Michelle suffered a devastating loss. Their oldest son, Jacob, died by suicide.
He, shot himself.
Was that a turning point in their marriage?
Well, I don't know that it was. It helped.
It didn't help their relationship,
No.
obviously. Were things rocky between Michelle and Bill prior to that?
I think always. Yeah.
Okay.
That pattern becomes important because investigators begin considering whether this was not a sudden act, but the endpoint of long-term emotional escalation.
She wanted to go to court. She wanted to settle, what do you call it, dissolution?
Disillusion.
And so she worked out a agreement, and Bill didn't agree with it. Of course, I looked at it and I said, well, you're kind of giving him everything. You're kind of forgetting yourself. But he wouldn't agree with that. He would not agree. Disagreed on everything. And I kept saying, oh my.
Then comes a critical revelation. Michelle had previously documented threats, including statements where Bill allegedly expressed intent to harm her during periods of extreme anger.
He gives detectives handwritten letters that Michelle wrote to Bill. Michelle's colleagues say she confided in them about these threats too.
She shared with me last year that he had held a gun to her, told her he was going to end her life. I had expressed to another coworker at the time that I was scared he was going to kill her. I'm not gonna lie.
At the time, she was going through a divorce with Bill. And she was telling me some of the things that were going on with.
A recorded video was recovered, showing Bill verbally attacking Michelle during a car ride, escalating into threats that investigators now consider highly significant evidence.
Had made a tape of that she was going to give to her attorney.
You think you're the perfect person. You think I'm going to pay you child support and alimony and all this? It ain't going to happen. Because you're a piece of shit.
Detectives now begin treating Bill as the primary suspect, not based on emotion, but based on documented history, opportunity, and escalating behavioral patterns.
For detectives, after hearing this recording, there's no doubt Bill is their primary suspect. But now it's up to them to prove he pulled it.
A search warrant is executed at Bill's residence, where multiple firearms and ammunition are recovered, expanding the scope of what he had access to during the time of the murder.
The next day, police obtain a search warrant for Bill's residence and seize several items, including multiple electronics, more firearms, and boxes of ammunition. Once again, he declines to speak with police. He seems more concerned with getting his white truck back more than anything else.
His girlfriend is interviewed separately and confirms the divorce was widely known to be messy, but insists she never believed it could escalate to murder.
Do you know any of the details about Bill and Michelle's relationship?
Not when they were together. I mean, I kind of tried to stay out of it, but I mean, it's common knowledge that it was a messy divorce.
Have you ever heard him make any threats towards Michelle?
No, not towards her, but I mean, he said, the only thing I've literally heard him say is he hopes she dies of ass cancer.
That contradiction between perceived normalcy and documented hostility becomes one of the central tensions of the case, because everyone around Bill saw anger, but not necessarily intent.
But as far as, never in a million years did it cross my mind that he's actually going to go kill Michelle.
Did you ask Bill if he did it?
I did.
What did he say?
He said, "What the kind of person do you think I am?"
Investigators then start building a precise timeline, aligning phone records, witness sightings, and surveillance footage to reconstruct Bill's movements on the day of the murder.
Police shift their focus to Bill's timeline and whereabouts on the day of Michelle's murder.
Let me understand your day on Wednesday, November 29th.
Oh, I woke up at 4 when he was leaving for work. He told me goodbye. I went to work at 8:30. We talked, we talked all day. I knew it was his day with, so I said, I'm going to run up to Niles and go shopping, because they always hang out in the garage. That's what they do.
And just to clarify, when you say they were out at the garage, is that a garage at your residence or somewhere else?
No, he has a garage that is, well, it's his dad's garage, but
okay.
They work in there constant. I mean, that's what him and do. I called him. I went shopping, and I asked him what he wanted to know what he wanted from Chick-fil-A. He didn't answer the phone, so I texted his son. I said, "Is your dad in the garage?" And he said no.
So you had indicated that you tried to get a hold of Bill and you were unable to?
I called him at 6 o'clock and he didn't answer the phone.
Okay. And then what time did you establish contact with him again?
I can't say exactly. If I had my phone, I could show you, but I would say it was like 10 till 7 he called me.
Ann says when Bill called her back, he offered up an explanation.
I was mad at him because he told me when he called me, I said, "Where are you?" He said, "I'm screwing around in the garage." And I said, "Well," he said, "You're not at the garage," which it was a half-hour difference or whatever. And he said, "Well, I'm almost there." He said, "I had to run home and take a shit." I was like, well, I was pissed off at him because he lied to me.
A friend confirms speaking with Bill during the critical window, placing him in a moving vehicle around the same time Michelle would later be attacked.
Would have been the night I got that night because I got off work. It was like I left here about 5 after 5. I was going down 164. I was on the phone with him and I was like, "Is that you, Billy? In the truck?" Mm-hmm. He's like, "Yeah." You know?
So tell me more about that.
It wasn't that long of a conversation. I just said, "Oh, what are you doing?" You know, just taking this truck out for, ride because it sets.
Okay.
The older truck, his other truck, not the white one.
Detectives learn Bill owns another truck, a 2005 blue Chevrolet. Bill's
Okay. Would have been last time would have been November 29th, 5:08, 7 minutes and 30 seconds.
Police obtain a search warrant and seize Bill's blue Chevrolet from his father's house. But the search of this truck doesn't turn up any new. As well as information gathered from previous interviews and phone records, police start to build a timeline.
Surveillance footage from Route 164 captures a blue Chevrolet truck matching Bill's vehicle traveling toward Michelle's area shortly before the estimated time of death.
Based on Michelle's son's statements, Bill left his dad's garage around 5 p.m. At 5:08 p.m., Bill spoke with his friend for 7 minutes and 30 seconds. During the call, Bill's friend saw Bill drive past him on Route 164 in his blue Chevy truck. At 5:45 p.m., Michelle's neighbors reported hearing gunshots. At 5:54 p.m., Leanne called Bill. He did not pick up. At 5:58 p.m., Leanne called Bill again. He did not. Then at 6:12 p.m., Bill called Leanne back.
Then later, footage shows the same vehicle returning in the opposite direction, creating a directional pattern consistent with travel to and from the crime scene.
This also mapped the driving distance between Bill's father's garage and Michelle's house. On November 29th at 5:17 p.m., a business along Route 164 has cameras that captured Bill's blue Chevrolet truck heading northbound in the direction of Michelle's house. Based on the footage and the timeline evidence, detectives are confident Bill left the garage, drove to Michelle's house, shot her, then drove back to the garage. As detectives continue building their case against Bill, Michelle's family and friends gather to pay tribute to her life. In one of many loving tributes,
the timeline tightens even further when investigators recover a spent projectile near the scene, and ballistic testing later identifies it as consistent with a .44 caliber revolver.
the murder weapon. So they go back and restage the crime scene. Using a metal detector, police locate a spent bullet projectile on the property across the street from Michelle's house.
That detail becomes significant because records indicate Bill previously owned a .44 Magnum revolver, though he later claims it was sold, raising additional suspicion.
Detectives obtain a list of Bill and Michelle's divorce assets. In those documents, it includes Bill's extensive firearm collection. One of the firearms listed is a .44 Magnum revolver.
Another friend of Bill later recounts statements allegedly made by Bill expressing violent intent during divorce disputes, including remarks about shooting Michelle if court outcomes went against him.
Every time I talked to him, he squealed about having to pay her alimony. And how she kept his stuff, and he was very angry about this. And we talked about it. Then a few more words out of his mouth was, if I don't get my way in court this time, I'm just going to shoot her and let the county and the state take care of me and let them figure out that I did it. I went, wow.
He said that he was going to shoot her, her being Michelle, his wife, ex-wife, and let the state or whoever take care of it. Is that right?
Take care of me, yeah.
Okay.
Put me in jail and take care of me. He was all upset about
having
to pay her alimony.
Even with
Piece by piece, the psychological picture begins to form. Investigators see not a crime of impulse, but a grievance, years in the making. And even without the murder weapon, the mounting evidence leads to one conclusion. Months later, Bill Long is arrested and charged with Michelle's murder.
24, Bill Long is arrested and charged with aggravated murder, and discharging a firearm upon a roadway. He pleads not.
In February 2026, Bill Long takes the stand and proclaims his innocence. But after days of testimony, the jury rejects his story and finds him guilty on all major charges, concluding the murder was premeditated.
All right, Mr. Long, please stand. As to count 1, aggravated murder, the verdict reads, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty of aggravated murder in violation of Ohio Revised Code Section 2903.01A, being an unclassified felony. All 12 juror signatures are contained on that verdict. Count 2, murder. The jury verdict reads, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty of murder in violation of Ohio Revised Code Section 2903.02A, being an unclassified felony. All 12 juror signatures are contained, with the foreperson signing twice.
Bill is sentenced to life in prison without parole, plus additional consecutive years, closing a case that began with a truck idling in front of a mailbox and ended with a courtroom verdict. For years, the signs were there: threats, anger, a bitter divorce, and a woman who had quietly documented her fears. Yet on a November evening in Ohio, a mother and teacher still ended up dead in her own driveway. And that leaves a difficult question behind. Could Michelle's murder have been prevented, or was this tragedy already set in motion long before the gunshots were heard? Share your thoughts below. And subscribe to Psyche Probe for more deep dives into the psychology behind true crime.